Welcome to the Reality Revolution. I'm your host, Brian Scott. Today we have glorious Quo channeling. This one delivered very recently on March 11th, 2023, that covers a variety of topics, including how does one action in a moment of despair affect the overall polarity of a person? How to mend a broken heart, sound and frequency healing, timelines and how to influence reality, the history of densities on Earth, Quo's contact with various groups, balancing the energy centers, service to others in a social memory complex, intuitively perceiving cataclysm and how to integrate those perceptions, how to maximize the call, creating spaces for gathering and shared seeking, disagreements with the social memory complex. The newer channelings really are covering what's going on currently in the general mind of our society and culture, and they resonate deeply with me. Quo is a group of higher density beings, actually a gathering of 3 different groups, Ra, Hatan, and Latui in most cases, each from different densities that work together to channel spiritual answers to questions given by a group called LL Research, who originally channeled the Raw Sessions or the Law of One channelings, which have been amazingly helpful in my own spiritual journey and many others. Oftentimes, I have a deep experience in reading these channelings, and then when I listen to them later, they're just as amazing on a deeper level. Each time I listen to them, I learn something new, and it's like an angel is talking to me. We begin with Jim channeling. I am Quo, and I am with this instrument at this time. We greet each of you in the love and the light of the one infinite creator. We are most honored to be called to your circle of seeking once again today. We thank you for calling us, as this is a manner in which we also learn how to be of service to others. And we would recommend that as you ask us your questions, that you use your personal discrimination as to what has meaning for you, that you may take and use in your spiritual journey, and what at this time does not have meaning for you. Lay such information aside without any worry, for we are then able to speak more to the point of your queries, if we know that you will exercise your own discrimination in evaluating responses. At this time, we would ask if there is a query with which we may begin. I have one. This question comes from Jay, who asks, if someone in a moment of despair, with anger or hurt at themselves or someone else, makes a decision that ends their life, can they still graduate? In the overall view of a life that was very spiritual, loving, and kind, does that moment of hurt, which causes death, set them back? I am Quo, and I'm aware of your query, my sister. This is the query which has no definite answer, for there is the experience of the anger which has such an impact and force upon the entity that even though it has lived the spiritual life, it causes the entity to end that life. The ending is in a moment. Who knows what the moment holds following the end of the life? It could be that there is the changing of the heart, the increase of the love, the shining of the light within such an entity, that it may also be able to continue on the spiritual path. With the ending of life being but a bump in the road, shall we say, added catalyst for the end to make use of, so that one may move further forward into the graduation, into the 4th density of love and light. However, this is not something that can be known by the ordinary human mind within the 3rd density illusion. For within that illusion, it seems that all ended in a moment of anger, but perhaps the moment was transformative, so the life and the graduation may go on. Is there a follow-up query, my sister? No, thank you, Quo. On behalf of Jay and all those your answer just touched. I am Quo, and we thank you, my sister. Is there another query at this time? Quo. There was once a song that asked the question, how do you mend a broken heart? That is my question for you. I had my heart broken recently, myself, And I wanted to ask because the heart is so central to the body. It's the centrality of many systems of circulation. It's connected to everything. So I wanted to ask, if the heart is harder to heal than other energy centers in the body, what can we do to heal our broken hearts? I am Quo, and am aware of your query, my brother. The heart is indeed the most central chakra or energy center within the human body and within the energy body. That is the measure of an entity's spiritual evolution. The heart is that which can be opened to the infinite love of the one Creator that made the universe by the power of love, and each entity and substance and quality and plant by the power of love. The power of love is a kind of medicine, shall we say, of the spiritual nature. It is that which sustains your spiritual life. The open heart is that which can become an enlivener to those around you as you shine your love and light and unconditional love to those around you. When you experience what you've called the broken heart, it is more of an emotional experience of the mind, which is connected to the heart in a way that steps down the ability of the heart to heal in a way that can be utilized by anyone who seeks to heal the broken heart. That is to say that the mind is more of the quality of the being that feels the brokenness of the heart, when actually the heart is that which cannot actually be broken, for it is your connection to the infinite Creator. You can use your own heart to heal that connection to the mind that feels broken, that feels that there has been misery, there has been perhaps attack, there has been the experience that is traumatic and makes one feel that life has just taken what you would call a nosedive into the depths of despair. We would suggest, however, that you can heal that feeling by using the love in your heart to shine it upon any source of the traumatic experience, seeing that source as being your other self, the mirror that shines into you, your own image in one facet or another, so that there is what might be called a traumatic experience. Thus, we suggest that within your meditative state, you focus your mind upon the healing of the pain, the trauma, the seeming separation between yourself and another, and feel that power of your heart to heal both you and the other self, so that there is unity once again within your own mind where there was seeming separation. Is there a follow-up query, my brother? Question: what can I do with the emotions that come up when I use my mind to attempt to heal my heart? It's often very painful, and it's very strong emotion that comes up. And what can I do with it, if anything? I am Quo, and I'm aware of your query, my brother. To be more specific as to the healing and the utilizing of Catalyst, we would recommend that you use the meditative state to re-experience the trauma that caused you to feel that your heart was broken. Enhance it in the degree that it is overwhelming. This will not be difficult. Then within your mind, see the balance of acceptance. See it, and let it become as large in your own experience mentally as was the trauma of the broken heart. See both of these as an experience in which you come to know yourself as one who can experience both the great trauma of the broken heart and the great acceptance of that trauma, and the one that was the initiator of the trauma. This is the use of Catalyst, which throughout the life experience can allow one to be aware of your nature as the one infinite Creator, a 360-degree being that is all things, that experiences all things as a means to know yourself better. The trauma can often be a means towards a greater realization of your inner nature as the one infinite Creator. Is there a follow-up query, my brother? No, thank you, Quo. That's beautiful, thank you. I am Quo, and we thank you, my brother. At this time, we will transfer this contact to the one known as Austin. We are those of Quo. Austin channeling. I am Quo, and I am now with this instrument. Through this instrument, we offer our gratitude and admiration for the circle that is gathered and the lightness of the hearts and willingness to open those hearts and vulnerability as you gather with your other selves in order to seek the one Creator with us. It is the seeking and this openness and vulnerability that allows us to join you and to blend our energies with the entirety of this group, and indeed with all entities who are aware of this contact and the words and thoughts that we share with you. For we all seek together, and we are all on the journey to the one infinite Creator. At this time, we ask if there is a query to which we may respond. Question? Thank you, Quo. I was wondering if you could elaborate a bit on the power of sound to raise the frequency, our own frequency, and for healing. I am Quo, and I am aware of the query, my sister. Indeed, the power of the vibration that you call sound is hardly understood by your cultures and has a great potential for what you have called healing. And indeed, it has a great potential for many types of experiences and even advances in what you call consciousness and even technology in your realm. The nature of this unique form of vibration is one of the most accessible types of vibrations available to you within your illusory third density. If you were to remove the veil that creates this illusion, you would see that the entire creation is indeed vibration itself, and that there are no aspects of your beingness or the beingness of any aspect of the environment around you that is not in one sense vibratory. From our perspective, having the full scope of view of both space/time and time/space, and the ability to recognize all aspects of the creation as expressions of the one Creator, we are able to view the entire dance of the Creator as a song that in varying ways and varying capacities, all entities are attuned to and dance. From your perspective, this may seem to be different for each entity, as the dance within your illusion may cause confusion. Indeed, there is no song that any entity can dance to that is not part of the grand song of the one infinite creation. We share this in order to demonstrate the power of what we have called vibration and its relationship to the idea of sound healing and using sound within your illusion in order to bring about changes in consciousness. It was indeed a planned aspect of this illusion that there would be a limited perception of vibration in the sense of the Creator, as we have spoken. And this limit has expressed itself as what you experienced as sound, primarily as an aspect of conveying information, thoughts, ideas, concepts, whether from other self to other self or simply by observing the environment and the creation about one, and the sorts of sound vibrations available at any moment. Your culture has come to an understanding of this vibration that allows for it to correlate to certain other types of frequencies that you have become aware of, such as the frequencies of brain activity and the frequencies of other types of electromagnetic activity within your body. If you examine these types of vibrations within your body and seek to correlate these vibrations to that of sound, you may find a rich opportunity for creating a harmony between the sound vibration and the vibration of the human body, of the mind, and of the heart. And in using these vibrations, allow the body to harmonize to different frequencies that allow for various experiences, whether those experiences are of healing or of even perceiving higher realms of consciousness that are typically unavailable to you within the third density. This can be a powerful modality of seeking, and we encourage any seeker or any entity that wishes to be a healer in this manner to utilize their intuition, for this is a difficult realm to explore in an intellectual capacity and requires a unification with the mind and the heart and feeling the effects of certain vibrations and understanding how these vibrations might influence oneself or another self. We assure you that this information and the ability to develop and understand how sound can influence and heal can be found within the heart. And with repeated practice of utilizing sound in this manner, one may become quite adept at creating magic within your realm through the use of sound and performing what could be perceived as miracles, but in our perception is simply the tuning in to the great song of the creation and allowing that to resound with clarity and love within your illusory realm. Is there a follow-up to this query, my sister? Question: When I do sound healings, I infuse my consciousness with the sound. I think you've answered my question. Is there anything I need to know about infusing consciousness and sound together? I am Quo, and I'm aware of the query, my sister. We believe that you have a strong grasp upon the nature of this healing modality, and simply reiterate that what you experience as your consciousness is indeed itself a vibration, and to infuse this consciousness and the sound vibration that is generated during these healing sessions is to find a harmony between these two vibrations, similar to what the musically inclined might call a harmonious chord, or a chord created to generate a certain effect. Being familiar with the mechanics of music can help to inspire how different combinations of vibrations between your consciousness and the tones used in healing can open the pathway of inspiration to find new ways that these combinations can be effective in this service. Is there another follow-up to this query, my sister? That is wonderful. Thank you so much. That's all I need to know. Thank you. I am Quo, and we thank you, my sister. Is there another query to which we may speak? Question. Yes. Thank you, Quo. I am aware that there are multiple timelines that exist. If that is true, is there such a timeline where our planet has already moved to the fourth density positive harmoniously and without much resistance? And if such a timeline exists, then how do we, as a social memory complex, jump to it or bring it into reality? I am Quo, and I'm aware of the query, my sister. Indeed, this concept of multiple timelines has become quite a present and pervasive notion within your culture and society in recent times. This allows for individuals to imagine and to open up to the possibility of infinity and the influence of infinity in your life and what might be accessible to you and what you experience as a timeline that you live within. This can be a difficult concept to elaborate on, for the notion of distinct and finite timelines existing parallel to each other is not quite as what we would perceive the reality of the situation. What you are experiencing in this present moment is indeed the ultimate present moment experienced by all of creation. However, the notion of timelines is a useful and valid one when we look at the concept of probabilities and possibilities, and the confluence and dynamic shifting of various energies as they travel with you in this present moment. Indeed, there is a reality to these possibilities and probabilities that should not be dismissed, for they can be accessed, and they can be used to influence your present experience. And in this way, the question of whether there is a timeline in which your planet has made a peaceful and positive transition into the fourth density is indeed possible and true. For in this very moment, there exists the infinite potential of the one infinite creator. And within that infinite potential is the moment of positive polarity being born in full, within not just your life, but the life of your entire planet and your entire population. We cannot offer any specific instructions on how to bring about or manifest this potential timeline within your current experience, except to say that recognizing and perceiving and believing in this potential is the overriding prerequisite or necessity for it to have influence upon your current experience. So to view this timeline, to imagine this timeline, and to open yourself to it, and to believe that it can be born within you, and within your other selves, and upon your planet in any moment, is the most powerful act that you, as an individual, can undertake in order to bring it to bear upon your reality. Is there a follow-up to this query, my sister? Beautiful, thank you so much. Question. We have heard from the somewhere that long time ago the Earth was a fourth density planet. Is it right? If it is yes, then what happened at that time that the Earth became third density planet from fourth density planet? I am Quo, and am aware of the query, my sister. The what we would call deep history of the planet is an interesting and varied exploration that from our perception does not include the distinct existence of a fourth density upon this planet. Whether the planet itself was existing as an active fourth density planet or being the home to a fourth density population. However, we find that within this information, there is a seed of what we perceive as reality For before third density began upon this planet, there was a long and involved timeline of interactions of various entities, of various densities, and various origins that do not fit neatly into the categorization of densities, but rather found their way into this planet through the other types of thought forms present from ages in your planet's history. Is there a follow-up to this query, my sister? Yes, thank you so much. And one more I have. We have a study group of Law of One in India. Are you in contact with them also? Can you give an estimation as to how many wanderers are there in this group? I am Quo, and I'm aware of the query, my sister. Indeed, any individual or any group that is aware of our words and seeks to join us in our path of seeking to the one infinite creator is with us. And we offer our support in various ways to such groups, including the general offering of love and light in a hope to make it available to you as individuals and as a group to bolster your seeking and to allow for perhaps greater perception of the deeper nature of your reality and the nature of the catalyst that you experience. We also may communicate through the dream states and offer our inspiration and guidance in more direct ways through that method. To the question of the number of wanderers within this group, we cannot offer any solid or specific information, for this would be difficult in this method of vocal channeling, but could also infringe upon the free will of these entities. However, we can confirm that a large majority of this group would fit within this definition of wanderer, or perhaps even the notion of a dual activated entity as spoken of by those of Ra. We are honored to be aware of your group and to join your group and offer you our full support and love and light in your journey, and encourage you to continue as you have with open hearts in support of each other. For the support you find within each other, within such groups, is ultimately the fuel or the resource that will guide you upon your path and to the fourth density and beyond, home to the Creator. At this time, we would transfer the contact to the one known as Jim. We are Quo. Thank you so much. Jim channeling. I am Quo, and I am with this instrument once again. May we ask if there is a query with which we may speak? Yes, I have a query. The concept of balancing a chakra or thought or an action, could you elaborate a little on, I guess, the mechanics of that? I mean, it seems like a simple question, but I'm having a tough time with that. I am Quo, and I'm aware of your query, my brother. We have begun to speak upon this quality of balancing in a previous query, and will attempt to enlarge upon it at this time. The balancing process is the means by which entities may use the experience, the catalyst of their daily round of activities, as food for growth. This growth is in the knowledge of yourself, eventually becoming that which is the one infinite creator. As you look at each of your energy centers, each of your chakras, there is a certain type of experience or energy that is utilized in each one. The red ray energy center is that which is concerned with survival, the sexual experience, and reproduction. The orange ray center expands the consciousness to the self that is unique in its ability to express itself in one-to-one relationships with other entities. The yellow ray energy center is that energy center where there is the blending of the orange individuality with other individuals, so there is a group consciousness. The heart, the green ray energy center, is seeing all others with a kind of love that is universal and without condition. The blue energy center is that which is the ability to give and receive communication and inspiration with others. The indigo ray energy center is that energy center of the adept, which sees all the creation as a means by which the entity is in working consciousness, is able to create changes in consciousness at will. The violet ray energy center is that which is both the mark or the identity of the entity, so that the infinite intelligence can be known at this point. As you go through your daily round of activities, you may see your interactions with others as having more of the quality of one energy center or another. As you retire into your meditative experience at the end of your day, you would look at whatever experience has come in any of these areas that have made a mark upon your consciousness, that have caused you to remember it, that have caused you to feel some dissatisfaction or disorientation because of it. This is the movement of your consciousness from that normal state of awareness that could be said to be acceptance and love. It is easy to be knocked off this balance in this illusion, for you have the veil of a forgetting here that causes you to see that which seems separate as being separate. Thus, you would take the experience, and these we may say are primary in the first 3 energy centers or chakras and be able then to expand upon the experience to let it become as difficult or as confusing or as jealous or unknowing, whatever the distortion, and let that become larger in your own mind so that you intensify it. Then, as we said before, visualizing the polar opposite. If you were impatient, visualize patience. If you were patient, visualize impatience. And then let the quality become larger and larger in your internal experience so that it equals the original experience, which has brought about the need to balance. When this is done, then you look at both of these experiences as qualities that are within your own being, that you're not separate from others, as you have these qualities, that you are like all others, whether they be the dancer, the poet, the thief, the murderer. You are all things eventually. This is a lifetime of processing catalyst, so that you become able to know yourself as a being of 360 degrees all things. You are the creator. This is something that each of us can utilize, even in our own density, in a subtler fashion perhaps than you do in your third density. And yet each time you have any experience that remains significant in your mind and becomes something that you're concerned about, then use this type of balancing to accept yourself for having all of these qualities within your being. Eventually you will see and become and feel and express the nature of the one infinite creator within your own being. Is there a further query, my brother? No, that's very good, thank you. I am quote, we thank you, my brother. Is there another query at this time? I have a query. Can service to others in a social memory complex, can there be too much service to others? I am quote, and am aware of your query, my sister. In a social memory complex, all experiences of each entity within the social memory complex is part and parcel of each experience. There is a great deal of camaraderie, shall we say, the ability to share the kind of experiences that make each who each is. The social memory complex then bears the weight together as a group of entities that are able to utilize all experiences from all incarnations as a means by which to be of service to others. Thus, there cannot be too much, for there is an infinity of being in this great library of knowledge and shared experience. All then are one in that social memory complex, and share all that there is to know, to do, to be, and become. Is there another query, my sister? Can the entities within the social memory complex have too much service to others? I am quote, and am aware of your query, my sister. We do not believe that it is possible, and there can be too much service to others, for the ability of entities to share and experience is infinite. The social memory complex is a state of being that is far more advanced than any third density entity can begin to imagine. Only in third density is it possible that there might be too much experience, that it would overwhelm the senses and make it difficult to process the experience. Is there a further query, my sister? No, thank you. That answers that. I am quote, we thank you, my sister. Is there another query at this time? Yes, quote. I have a question, please. Thank you for taking my question. Could you please speak to second chakra imbalance and what that looks like or can look like? I am quote, and I'm aware of the basics of your query, my sister. Was it the second or the seventh that you spoke of? Second, orange 2. I am quote, we thank you, my sister, for the clarification. The orange ray energy center can become what you would say overbalanced with the concerns of the self, the eccentricities of the self, the qualities that make the self who the self is. If one is so focused upon their own being, there is the possibility that this focus may then not be shared in a more universal or expansive sense with other selves, so that the expansion of the consciousness is for the time being restricted to the orange ray energy center. However, it is possible that if one is attempting to do work in consciousness upon the self, that this focus upon the orange ray energy center may be that which is part of a healing process, so that there is at a future time, as you would call it, not the necessity for such a focus, as the focus has been healed and has been allowed to expand into the world of other third density beings that one shares the life pattern with. Is there another query, my sister? No, thank you, Quo. I'm Quo, and we thank you, my sister. At this time, we would transfer this contact to the one known as Austin. We are those of Quo. I am Quo, and I am once again with this instrument. At this time, we ask if there is another query to which we may respond. Quo, may I ask? I have a friend who chose not to have children because of his sixth sense that a major cataclysm would be occurring in his lifetime. And he did not want his children to have to experience that cataclysm. Is that a reasonable perspective, or is this something that he has excessive concern about? I am, quote, and I'm aware of the query, my brother. We cannot speak to the probabilities or specifics of what has been called a cataclysm, but rather we may speak to the intuitive notion of the individual to not have children in order to avoid exposing them to such an event. We find that in the important and central aspect of the experience of entities within your third density, that of procreation and creating life, that the intuition is a vastly important factor in determining whether it is appropriate for the individual or whether there is a plan or a rightness to the decision to create life and to steward that life upon your planet. To perceive such an event intuitively and use that perception to decide to not have children is, of course, the right of the individual, and it cannot be said to be incorrect for anyone who decides for any reason to not engage in this type of service to others that is inviting a child into their life. However, we would comment on the intuitive perception based upon fear and how to make decisions using the intuitive perception of fear. We suggest that if a seeker or any individual is learning to utilize their intuition and to come into a relationship with the deep wellspring of the unconscious mind, and fear is a quality that is regularly presented within this communication, that this is a catalyst like any other to work with. The notion of a cataclysm itself and the practicalities that go into such an event are much less important than the feelings one has about such an event and the fear that one may feel because of that possibility. In exploring this catalyst and in coming into a deeper relationship with the intuition, one may discover within the self other aspects of the self asking to be healed, or perhaps that this intuitive notion has been influenced by some other factor within the seeker's life besides an accurate perception of a possibility or probability. However, we cannot be specific in guiding in this way, but rather simply suggest that the fear perceived intuitively is a gift to come into a relationship with, and is not necessarily in itself intended to be a message of guidance and direction in how one should proceed in life. Is there a follow-up to this query, my brother? Thank you very much, quote, very much appreciated. I am, quote, and we thank you, my brother. Is there another query to which we may respond? Question, quote, in the raw contact 1013, Ra says that the call begins with 1. Subsequent calls double the first call. How do we achieve this doubling effect? Do we have to call at the same time? Can we magnify or boost the effect through prayer or singing or infusing our call with the emotions so we get more bang for our calling buck? I am, quo, and I'm aware of the query, my brother. In the specific description of this metaphysical mechanic that you have referenced, the, shall we say, ultimate mathematics present an ideal or a way that the calling may present itself should all factors be unified and in harmony. The variable that should be most considered in your query is the presentation of distortion or a lack of unification within the calling that would then impose itself upon the ideal expression of this divine mechanism, intended to bolster your ability as a people to reach outward into the creation and allow entities such as we of the Confederation of Planets in service to the one infinite creator to respond and offer our aid. And so in approaching your query, we would suggest that attempting to come to a harmony with those others who are also calling in intention and in desire is a powerful act to reduce the lessening effect that a lack of harmony or a lack of mutual understanding can have on this mathematical equation. And this can be done in various ways, such as unifying the time-space in which such things as prayer or meditation occur, so that there is a convergence of energies within a space and a time that can join together in a resounding way. It is also very beneficial for individuals and groups to express their deepest hopes and desires and intentions in making a call and bringing their unconscious desires forth into their consciousness so that they may be presented to others and be utilized as a catalyst for the entire group. For the deleterious effect of a lack of harmony or a lack of order within the calling often comes from the unconscious motivations and unconscious biases of the individuals within the group that are unaware of how their conscious will may be influencing how they are participating in such a calling. And finally, we may also comment that when we zoom out, you may say, and examine the calling of your planet as a whole, Much of the calling is indeed itself done on an unconscious level. There are many upon your planet who have a deep desire to reach out and unify with the one infinite creator, but have a lack of understanding of this desire and cannot adequately put it into words in order to share it with others. And so any attempt made to help others grasp their inner desires and bolster the inner flame of seeking can also help with the grand call of your planet, which will indeed have a resounding effect in allowing your planet to open to the love and light of the creator and the love and the light of the fourth density as it approaches your planet, as it exists already within your planet and within your time-space. Is there a follow-up to this query, my brother? No, thank you, Ko. I am Ko, and we thank you, my brother. Is there another query to which we may respond? Yes. What can we do to help Mother Earth go to the fourth density positive, as well as the whole of humanity? I am Ko, and we are aware of the query, my sister. We deeply appreciate the opportunity to speak, and we appreciate the spirit with which this question is asked. For it is ultimately our own desire in interacting with your planet to fulfill this question and to answer this question for ourselves and for you. The fourth density, as we perceive it, exists already, and your planet has moved into the space-time and time-space of fourth density as it is made available by your galaxy. However, the confusion of the people upon the planet and the difficulty of the people in grasping their own natures and thus becoming less able to accept the natures of other selves is causing the full manifestation of the fourth density to be roughly realized with difficulty upon your planet. And so we offer our own guidance and hope that we may find the fourth density alive within your own heart and discover for you how the fourth density may manifest within your own life and in your interactions with all other selves. And through this way, there is a healing not only of the other selves with which you share the fourth density as you can grasp it, but there is a healing of the planet. For the planet itself, who your peoples often refer to as the Mother or Gaia, has had a long and interesting journey with your people and the energies that your people have brought to this planet. There is much confusion that the Earth itself has accepted and taken in within its own field of energy, when any attempt is made by entities upon your planet's surface to reconcile this confusion, to bring understanding and acceptance. The planet itself is healed and accepts this healing that is done by the entities upon the planet. And so any effort you make within your own life to bring healing and understanding resounds to the core of your planet. In addition to this focus of healing, what is available to you, we also encourage and appreciate any effort made to express to the self and to the planet and to the creator the desire for this healing and the desire to aid the birth of fourth density upon your planet. This can be best done through actions such as prayer or visualizations, for these acts are not simply a recitation or an empty imagination of certain images, but rather, with each practice, are a reiterative magical ritual that helps to solidify pathways for the fourth density to be born upon your planet. And with each iteration of a prayer or a visualization, the power increases and begins to become exponential with each iteration. And so we encourage each seeker to not ignore the impulse that they may have to offer words of healing or prayers of healing to the planet. These are indeed powerful and influence the time-space of your planet in ways that are imperceivable to you. While these rituals may seem to not have a large influence in your direct experience, we can assure you that they are of a great aid and benefit to your planet and to the entities upon your planet as a whole. Is there a follow-up query to my sister? Yes, so beautiful. Thank you so much. I am Ko, and we thank you, my sister. Is there any other query to which we may respond? Yes. Before sleep, when I've done the meditations, I see that I went all the way to the purple ray with the golden lights, and that is a peace, and I liked it. So what was that? And after that, when I came from the meditations, my heart chakra and crown chakra both were too much in balance, and I feel pressures on my heart all the time whenever I went on that purple ray to golden nights. So if you can please help me out. I am Ko, and I'm aware of your query, my sister. We find in your description of these experiences that what you've described in your initial experience of the peace is nearing an activation of the sixth ray chakra, that which allows for the influence of intelligent infinity to be brought into one's life. And with this influence comes an innate knowledge and an innate understanding of the divinity of your existence and the existence of the creation about you, which ultimately, as we perceive it, results in the experience of peace. The further experiences that you have described, while we cannot be specific in diagnosing or offering a prescription for how to approach this experience and how to utilize it within your seeking, we can reflect that what you have described is indeed a description of an energy center or energy system that is balanced and imbalanced in certain ways to help guide you, and how you can assess the certain pressures and certain experiences as you find them in certain aspects of your energy body. We may demonstrate or use an example of how one energy center being out of balance in a certain way, perhaps either underactivated or overactivated, may be compensated by the underactivation or overactivation of another energy center. So any adjustment to one energy center may have inevitable influence on another energy center, depending on the specific distortion found within the energy body. And so we suggest a process whereby, having this understanding of the energy centers imbalanced within you, you relate this imbalance to your experiences and your daily round of activities, and specifically look for catalysts that may speak to this imbalance, perhaps starting with the lower chakras, and in discovering this catalyst, using your own balancing processes and acceptance in order to bring that lower chakra into balance. You may find that in doing so, the balancing or the healing of the other chakra influenced by this may come naturally or with less effort than was required of the lower balancing. We believe that if this dynamic is considered in meditation, it may help you to discover how to best utilize these experiences for your own healing and growth. Is there a follow-up to this query, my sister? No, thank you. Thank you so much. Question? Yes, in another group of India, the initiator had a question about, in the future of the world's chaotic situation, is there anything the Confederation can give, or a goal if we stumble or get stuck? Is there any help or guidance on how to balance that situation? I am Quo, and I'm aware of the query, my sister, and we empathize with the spirit with which the question is asked. We understand that from the perspective of third density, such chaos, which may seem inevitable to you based on how you observe the trajectory of your society, can seem to be a large discomfort, or even greater, induce much suffering within the self and within other selves. We offer your own comfort, and we understand why these potentials can seem so daunting and why you would wish to seek guidance in handling such situations. But we would refer to a previous query to which we were responding and offer the notion that it is important to examine where such questions come from within the self before truly considering how one may handle such situation as it comes to pass. Even if there is not fear within the self that creates such a question, it is important that one understands one's own biases and is in harmony with one's heart in considering the prospect of chaos or massive difficulty upon your planet. And in doing so, we would find that one may ultimately come to an understanding and a peace within the heart that accepts one's place upon one's journey and one's role upon one's planet, no matter the circumstances about one. One may be standing in the center of the most chaotic maelstrom within the creation, and if that entity is able to touch the one infinite creator within the heart of the self, then that entity would be unmoved by the chaos about one, and instead would be moved by the creator to act and to express oneself in a way that resounds with the harmony and the love of the creator that offers healing and peace and joy to the self and to the other selves about one, regardless of the circumstances. It is upon these lines that we encourage seekers to examine their thoughts and hopes, to come into contact with that heart of self that is confident and has faith that no matter the circumstances about one, you have been prepared by the Creator for the experience in front of you, and that you have within yourself everything that you need to be of the greatest service that you can be, and to offer healing and love in any situation. For you are the Creator, and the Creator cannot be reduced or influenced or have any concern or any fear of any situation. We too seek this heart of self, and while we may be further upon the path of seeking than you are experiencing at this moment, we offer you our fullest sympathy and empathy. We understand this is a difficult perception to achieve within your density, and we can only give you our highest praise for attempting in any moment that you are able to achieve this realization. At this time, we transfer the contact to the one known as Jim. We are Quo. Thank you so much. I am Quo, and I'm again with this instrument. We would ask if there is a query to which we may respond. Yes, Quo. Thank you. How important is it for us now to be creating spaces for people to gather, to meditate, to teach, to do many different things, but creating gathering spaces? How important is that? I am Quo, and I'm aware of your query, my sister. You've asked a query which is central to the evolution of the planet Earth at this time. Such spaces where one may share the spiritual journey, where you may experience another's thoughts and desires and find a commonality. These are the times that require such spaces to be created. These are the times upon your planet where there seems to be little of that which you would call love of other selves being expressed on a regular basis. Thus, there is the need for this love of other selves, the love of the one infinite creator, to flow through each heart within such spaces that are created. This love may resound to the very ends of the earth and surround and imbue the people of the planet Earth, Mother Earth, so that there is more and more the realization of other selves rather than separate selves of the same self, the one creator moving within each entity on Earth. If this can be done, there is the possibility vortex created, then that the distress of the Mother Earth and her population may be reduced by the knowledge and the experience of love flowing freely from those places and spaces and people who have created the spaces, so that all may be seen as one, that there is no true separation. This is the great journey of your third density experience, to find the open heart for all around one and to love without condition. This is difficult enough to do, that it is that which has been ignored for such a long period of your space-time. We congratulate you for thinking of these types of gatherings and creating the spaces, for this is the kind of thought that can spread like a seed in the wind, gathering more momentum to be planted within the hearts of others, around one, and grow there so that the fields are white with a snow of the loving light of the one infinite creator. The light that has descended to earth from the population of earth, through the love and light of the one infinite creator. Is there a follow-up to this query, my sister? Question. Quo, as I understand it, you consist of several social memory complexes of different densities and backgrounds, and you're on different stages on the path, the spiritual path. Do you ever have any trouble blending your energies and working together? Do you have disagreements or differences of opinion? I am Quo, and I'm aware of your query, my brother. We of Quo have within our principle those who are of the fourth density of Haton, those of the fifth density of La Tui, and those of the sixth density of Ra. This is a principle which has blended together in order that there might be information transmitted, as we have been doing today, to those who have queries about the nature of the spiritual path, the nature of the creation, the nature of how one may work with others to create a social memory complex within your third density illusion. We have various means by which we may process questions or suggest answers, and these are automatically harmonized by the nature of our being. For we are aware that we do not operate solely as social memory complexes, but we have what you might call greater beingness within the one infinite creator due to the various levels of realization of the creator, being that which we are, and that which we seek, and that which shall ever be. Thus, there are no true differences. There are merely various levels of approach to the ability to be of service to others. We are grateful that we are able to blend together to seek in service to others and to join groups such as your group, so that there may be some reconciliation of differences, some answering of questions that are upon the heart, upon the mind, that cause difficulty or confusion, that we may help others to be who they are, the same as we are, the one infinite creator. We move in harmony together, and we move in harmony with you. And we are thankful that you've asked the queries this afternoon that you've asked, for they allow us to pursue our spiritual path as well as helping you to pursue your spiritual path. Together, we move in harmony, in unity, in the great dance of creation. And we thank you for all being here this afternoon, giving us an opportunity to blend our vibrations with yours. We are most impressed with how you do the dance of loving and living within the third density illusion. At this time, we shall take our leave of this group and this instrument. We leave each of you in the love and the light of the one infinite creator. We are known to you as those of Quo, Adonai, Vasu, Boragas. I have to say this is one of my very favorite channelings, and I know if you went back over the quote channelings, I probably said that 100 times, but I just thought there were so many relevant, interesting questions that were being asked, and this is a recent channeling. A lot of the channelings that you might have heard or read on their website come from prior to 2012, where they were talking about us shifting into fourth density. Then there was a sort of pause, and then they started channeling again. Clearly, the planet did not have a harmonious transition into fourth density. We've remained in third density within the illusion because we are incapable of loving other selves and expressing love and understanding these lessons that were prevalent for us to move into fourth density. So there are questions on how we can move into fourth density and what it means and what a social memory complex is and how it works. All of these are super fascinating and guide us and help us to understand the transformation that we are undergoing. I found it interesting. They talked about parallel timelines, and the emphasis here is while all those timelines are available, the only true reality is the present moment. And that is true. On one level, you can consider all the other timelines as streams of information, space of variations that are available. And so they do say it's relevant to consider this. I believe you can jump into parallel timelines that they may not be existing previous to your jumping into it, but once you choose to jump into it, it is like information. We are in an illusion. You're just jumping into a new program. So I agree, we can only really experience the present moment. We're not in multiple places at once. It's only the present moment. And they continually emphasize the importance of that. There are some very relevant questions about energy centers and balancing of energy centers. So with the Quo and Ra model, you can have an overactive energy center, and the other energy centers can influence each other. There were questions about this earlier on in the channelings, but it seems to be clear that the flow of energy can be influenced by other energy centers. So if your lower three chakras are not opened, it may be harder for you to open that heart center. All the energy centers together are important and should be balanced. Balancing is a key concept that is continuously discussed by Quo as well as Ra. Balancing the broken heart. If your heart is broken, when you're in meditation, you consider the acceptance of that broken heart. You accept the broken heart as it is. Constantly balancing is important anyway. Never making anything super important, but also considering the opposing feelings so that you have a balanced understanding of what is happening in your world. It's the one infinite creator. And within that infinite creator, as they said twice in this channeling, it's 360 degrees. So you need to consider all the different relevant emotions and states that are involved to truly access the infinite one creator in its wholeness, in its unity of oneness. That allows for the full light to enter in by balancing everything. And they recommend at night, you balance all the things that happen. If you were super happy, balance it with the opposite. I've always struggled with that. At a minimum, I try to keep a balance so that nothing becomes imbalanced. Balance being the key fundamental word here, so that none of my emotions become imbalanced. So let me know what your favorite part of this particular channeling is. There's some new ones available. I'll be reading those. It's always a joy to read the words of Quo. I feel energized, and in these higher densities, when I read these words, I am sending love and light to everyone that's listening, hoping you go out and have the most fantastic day. And welcome to the reality revolution.